Good evening and welcome to all my rubber duckies. Hope you're ready for some more Sentinel AI work in space engineers, because last night I found a problem and tonight I'm friggin' ready to solve it. Gonna find that answer. So, what do you say? I don't have really much to introduce. I'm kind of ready to go because I'm still sort of in that same mindset from last night. But for anybody who may be looking at this for the first time, currently working in space engineers on my very grand over the top concept of creating AI in space engineers, and right now working very hard to get a ship to fly in a straight line. So yeah, let's hold on. Oh, good, that is showing up. Okay, cool. So if you did watch at the end of last stream, you might remember we were running some tests on the A-star algorithm that has often been working well, but right now I made some changes and it's having some problems actually finding its goal. And I don't know the for sure like main root problem, but I did find one problem that very commonly when we generate neighbors to one of our states, and from one of the states that's on the correct straight line path, we're checking what happens when we fire our thrusters in any different direction. And for some reason, firing the thrusters to move the ship up and firing the thrusters to move the ship down give us different results. And that seems totally wrong. They should be exactly the same, assuming we're on that central path, which I know we were because I went back and looked at all the steps that were getting us there. So I want to step through some details and find out why. So yeah, I'm just gonna jump right in here. Let's see. So I left my breakpoint up from last time, which is gonna stop us several nodes in. Looks like 33 nodes in, or 34, I suppose. And I do know it's not. Yeah, it wasn't like perfectly. This is the one we want to run. It wasn't. It's not. It's not the 33rd tick in line. It was like the 20th something because we missed a few. Or well, didn't miss them. We expanded outwards to evaluate other ones, which is fine. That can happen. Yeah, current node is there we go 23. So we're 23 ticks out. And if I remember right, when I checked this one, we were looking at, yeah, the list of parent commands. Most of them were forward thrust, which is right. Front, front, but there's one back thrust in the list, which is really weird that one would have come out as better. And I think I know why it did. Actually, no. I don't have a good explanation at all for why it would have. But for whatever reason, it did. Um, Yeah, and I can go and look at that later, but for right now, maybe I should look at that first. No, 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 no. Let's not. Let's try not to sidetrack myself too much. Let's look at the thing I wanted to look at first. We can come back and see why that's in the mix later. But I remember from last time, and like this isn't going to change from run to run. It's always going to be consistent if I haven't changed anything in the code. So we can find out why that is. But all of the rest were forward thrust, and we had the one back thrust mixed in, which is weird, but it still means we're on the central axis. That hasn't changed at all. And so then when we evaluate when we generate our neighbors, get this list, and one of these, here's the down thruster. When that fires, for some reason, we think we're 121 ticks away, which that's reasonable, and that it's going to take 122 thruster activations to get to our goal. And that seemed low, but I thought, maybe. But then one of these, here we go, this one, thrusting up, which should be an exact mirror of thrusting down, is again 121 ticks away from our goal, which is fine, but 124 thruster activations, which seems more correct, but it's weird that it's 124 when down was 122. And I want to find out why those are different. Because that is a problem, that is a very specific thing I identified last time, and I want to see if I can figure out why that happens. So I think if I do the next one, it's going to do the same thing, but I'm just going to restart this from where we were so I can step in to generate neighbors here and uh, track it from that state, just so I'm consistent. All right. There we go. We're back in. Current state, 23, 121. Perfect. So we're here. I'm going to step into generate neighbors. So our first command, oh, right, it's not quite as easily visible, but it's the rear thruster, thrust back, or the reverse thruster. It's not the rear thruster. It's actually the thruster in front of the ship, but it's a thruster pushing us back. So that's fine. If I say execute to here, will you actually change your loop? Oh, good. Perfect. So this should be our down thruster. Perfect. All right. So this is one of the two. So let's see how this one works out its math. I don't really want to step through every single bit of the math if I don't have to. I'm fine jumping to the end and seeing what the result is, which is going to be after this is calculated. It's going to calculate our position. So let's just run to here. So we'll have our new state at this position. I should copy this and write it down so I can see. Actually, first thing, let's take a quick look at the parent position. There. Parent. I'm just going to drop these in my OneNote page off screen just so I can keep track. So after activating the thrust downwards, we end up here. Okay, so looking at those two, oh geez, Where's my goal? I need to know my goal position too, just so I can look at this relatively. I'll see it in the heuristic function. So let's see. State command parent cost. That's all fine. So yeah, so I wanna take a look at the heuristic evaluation now. So we'll step into that. Might have to step into a couple. That's the cost. Let's roll the next one. Yeah, heuristic. Perfect. So the goal state here, I want to copy this. So ooh, there we go. That looks. Sorry, I'm doing a little formatting in my OneNote tab just to help view it a little better. Okay. So we're mainly traveling along the X direction. We're traveling in the X direction from currently at negative 1.1, and we're trying to reach 6.4. It looks like, because the Y and Z are mostly consistent. They only change slightly. The way the ship happens to be oriented in the game right now, which is where I pulled this world matrix out of, is mainly traveling along the x-axis, which is helpful. So I think this thrust downwards looks like, geez, it's really kind of hard to tell. 6, 8, 7, 9. It's the right direction. That's the wrong direction. So it affected us mainly in the Y axis. The thrust downward pushed us a little bit in the negative Y direction. Okay. I just want to have that in my head. That's actually kind of nice. Down being negative Y is intuitive. That's easy to remember, but also, that's going to change depending on where the ship happens to be in space at any given time. So it's tough. But that's fine. Okay. So this is all easy enough. Yeah, these axis groups only mean so much, but let's see. I'm gonna execute to here. So we're looking at, what I did here was I've got the 6 thrusters that are on the ship. There's one pointing in each direction. I grouped them into the 3 axes. The forward, up, and right are relatively arbitrary axes because this forward direction isn't necessarily the ship's forward direction. But it means I'm pairing up the thrusters that are pointing in opposite directions, so that in this case, with the ship we're testing, there's exactly one thruster in every direction, so it's relatively easy to, like, I could just assume that, but I like having this coded up so that if I have multiple thrusters and different numbers of thrusters in each direction, it can still calculate, the maximum forward thrust we can get versus the maximum reverse thrust we can get, because we might accelerate and decelerate at different speeds along each axis. So anyway, I'm looking at each axis independently and seeing, which of those thrusters need to be, if thrusters need to be activated on that axis relative to where we are now, and if so, which ones, how many times. So let's see. So along this axis, dotted with the goal direction. Goal is it's reverse, but yeah, this is basically, so this is the axis on which we need to travel the furthest. So this is our ship's actual front to back axis. And I'm actually pretty confident that these calculations are essentially correct. At least mostly. This isn't where the weirdness is happening anyway, I don't think. So I'll let it do its stuff and see what it looks like near the end. I believe we'll be stepping into this bottom block. Yeah. So sure. This is all fine. And this is the first axis we're evaluating. So yeah, we're expecting to hit a maximum speed of 6.6 meters per second. Hit it 0.84 seconds from now, and then require 1.2 seconds almost to break back down to 0, which means 50 game ticks. Um, Sorry, I'm thinking. I got. All right, I'll finish my thought and then come back and tweak something. 50 game ticks accelerating, and then 71 game ticks breaking, and that's reasonable. That sounds right. 121 total thruster activations, which is 50 plus 71, and then our max ticks is, since this is our first axis we've evaluated, it's definitely going to be the highest, and it's going to be that 121. What I realized I did here is that, and I messed this up a little bit. It's technically fine right now, because what I did was, this is the time in seconds. These are times in seconds, and dividing it by the number of seconds in a time step, which right now is 1 game tick. But I actually wanted my, but could be a different number of ticks. And I kind of forgot that I did that, was that these thruster activations counts were actually counted in algorithm time steps and not in game ticks necessarily. So if I was setting my time step to 10 ticks, these are actually numbers of 10 tick steps, not number of ticks. And so my math actually needs to be a little bit different here. I want to divide this, and my code's probably going to yell at me for changing it in the middle of a debug operation. Program dot time step ticks. So that if this is in tens, not divided by times, if this is in, groups of 10 ticks, we multiply it by 10 in order to get the number of ticks that it will take us to get there, which is what I want. Right now, our time step ticks is just 1, so it doesn't matter. The math actually still works out the same, but I want to clean that up for later. And I think I need to do the same thing here. I do. Even though that section of the code never actually gets hit right now, that's fine. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Now, is the code going to yell at me if I try to, oh, it's trying to apply the code changes. Oh, it says it applied successfully. All right. Yeah, I think it's actually gonna keep executing. That's nice. I didn't change anything too terribly, so it's not a huge surprise. But all right. So now we'll step back up to the top of this loop and check another axis. And our dot product here is very, very small. Er, oh, I see. Oh no, I see. It's right. This is a unit vector. Um, because it's just directional. So this one is along the z-axis. So this is also the axis that was not affected. I expect these calculations to all work out to 0. I expect we will not have any need to fire thrusters that are primarily along the z-axis in order to reach our goal. So just bring it to here, and you'll tell me that step accelerating is 0, steps braking is 0, total thruster activation account is 0, and the maximum of the 121 from the last, or 0 plus 0 times 1, is going to be the max ticks from before. So that's going to remain at 121. That's fine. We added 0 thruster activation. Oh, right. Yeah, we added 0. This is a running sum. So it's 121 from before plus 0 and 0. Cool. That makes sense. Go to the next axis. This axis says its largest element is along the y-axis, and the y-axis is the one I determined was where our up-down thrusters were affecting. So this is the one that we're curious about. So I guess I should have, well, the distance to goal before was going to be 0 on the previous axis. So the distance to goal on this axis is, wow, a whole 7/10,000ths of a meter. That is not a lot. But I mean, that's from a thruster pushing us off course for a 60th of a second. So it's not, one ion thruster is not going to get you that far. So it makes sense that it's small. Oh, I should record this number though. It's down. Let's see. Give me an extra row. So we were off by that much. That's our distance to the goal along the axis of these thrusters. That's fine. Projected velocities, speeds, whatever. Acceleration, yada, yada, yada. Check it here. Our maximum speed that we're going to reach is 0.09 meters per second. Going to reach the swap point in 0.03 seconds and then require 0.016 seconds to go to the end. Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense because moving at, yeah, this was be, even though I know it's going to be a long time till we reach our actual goal, as far as this axis of thrusters is concerned, we don't have that far to go. And so it's only going to require us 0.2 seconds, not 0.2 seconds, 0.05 seconds, 0.0166, 0.033, yeah, 0.05 seconds, 5/100ths of a second to get back to where we're supposed to be. 5/100ths of a second. Does that track. Remind me. The number of seconds in a step. Yeah, so this is 1/60th. Boy, I'm trying to do too much of this in my head. That's how far off we got. It should take 3 times this to get back. Because we went off course for 1 tick. It's going to take us 1 tick to slow the ship back down to 0 in that direction. 1 tick to begin accelerating back in the opposite direction towards where we started, and a 3rd tick to slow down to 0 again on the original axis. So take 3 times that. 3 times 0.016 repeating is 0.05. That's right. Cool. All right. That makes sense then. 0.03, 0.0166. Yep. That makes sense. And I have a feeling I kind of know where this is going wrong. Accelerating for 1 step, braking for 0 steps. Yeah, that's the problem. Braking for 0 steps. I mean, I guess that's fine. Man. Yeah, because it's time swap to end. Yeah, look at that rounding error at the end. 0.01666 something 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 40653 divided by 0.016 actually repeating. This is just a little bit smaller. So the result of this division, actually, it should show me. Yeah, there we go. 0.999, whole bunch of 9s, and then 834. But the floor of that, which is always a round down, rounds us down to 0. And this one is very, very close to 2, but rounds us down to 1. That makes sense. Okay. And I know what's going to happen now when I look at the thrust up is it's going to have these same calculations that are very, very close, except this one's going to be just a little bit above 2 instead of just a little bit below 2. This is going to be just a little bit above 1 instead of just a little bit below 1. And we're going to get those 2 extra steps in there. And that's why it was different. And I might need to not make this a floor. I might need to make it a straight round, because yeah, I really don't want 0.999999 to be 0. It's really not what I'm looking for, because that's just a result of rounding error. Okay, so let's confirm that, shall we? That's the end of that. We're going to return, yep, that's our 122 and 121. That's what we saw before. Add our new neighbor. Okay. And now this command is not, this is a double thruster. Yeah, this is like reverse and down or something. If we execute to here again, this one is our up thruster. So this is the other one we want to check. Yada, 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 yada. Jump over here to the heuristic. Step in, and actually I should just be able to jump in here and tell it execute here. Perfect. I'm learning some of the shortcuts I can take in Visual Studio, which is kind of nice. All right. You're going to group your axes, sure, whatever. Come to here. Axis goal direction, this is along the x-axis. Those calculations are fine. Come here again. This is along the z-axis. Those calculations are fine. Come here again. Now we're on the y-axis. This is the affected axis. Check our distance to goal. 0.00, whatever. Oh, I didn't actually record this in my stuff. Heuristic state. Let me check this position. I'm gonna, I might as well continue to document this, even though I think I see the problem. Still nice to confirm the things I was wanting to record before. Distance to goal. So I know you guys can't see my OneNote screen open, but yeah, this distance to goal is identical out, excuse me, out to what is that? I don't know, like 12 decimal places. 13. That was a pretty good guess. 13 decimal places, but this distance is very slightly larger thanks to the rounding error, which I suspect is what's going to result in very slightly larger times, which is where we saw stuff happen down below. So da 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 da. Come out to, actually, don't even come out to there. Just come all the way to here. Swap point speed. That's again basically the same. Time to start swap 0.333, like that's what we saw before, 0.66666. But look at that, 0.1666669 is bigger than 0.01666 repeating. So this evaluates to just over 2. This evaluates to just over 1. Like I said, this turns into 2. That turns into 1. We end up with 124 instead of 122. That makes perfect sense. And that's not what I want to do. That's not how I want this to work. Okay. So, how to handle this? I thought that using the floor calculations was a good idea. I'm just going to kill this execution. I thought that using the floor calculations was a good idea because when we're calculating a heuristic, the thing that makes the A-star algorithm work is that the heuristic is admissible. And that means that it can never, the heuristic value is our guess at how long it will take to reach the goal. And in order for it to be admissible, it can never overestimate the time that it takes to reach the goal. If my heuristic says, oh yeah, it's going to take 4 seconds to get there, and there actually is a way to get there in 3 seconds, the algorithm is not guaranteed to find the solution. So by always rounding down in the heuristic calculation would mean that we can't do that overestimation and to help keep the heuristic admissible. But I think that this is a case where this rounding is not, it's not really, it's not really an overestimation. It's just an elimination of floating point math rounding error. And for that, I think we just need to do, oh wait, actually that won't work either. If I just cast it to an integer, that'll truncate it at that round. Which means I probably want to do the same thing here. Why is that? Oh, nice. IntelliJ actually says, hey, you recently made changes of floor to, how do I tell you to actually do that? Oh, here it is. Yeah, do that. That's neat. Thanks, IntelliSense. All right. Okay. I want to rerun it and see what happens. But before I do that, I want to see if there are other places I used floor. Apparently, there were no other places I used floor. Really? Okay. Great. Actually, does this return a... Oh, that's weird. Math.round still returns a double, not an integer. So I still have to cast it. Even though it's rounding the value to the nearest integer value, it still returns it as a double and not an int. Whatever. I'm not gonna question it. Casting to an int is easy enough. But on that note, where else do I do int casts? Because what? Those cannot be the only place I do an int cast. It says you're searching the whole project. Huh. Maybe it is. Yeah. Weird. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, now we're getting into weird files. All right. Okay. Sure. I accept what you told me. So, in that case, shall we see what's different? I'm gonna leave the breakpoint in the same place. I'm gonna assume that we're gonna hit it, but I don't know exactly what all will have changed. All right. We're processing our 34th node of this tick. Ooh, and it is the third, and it's the 33rd node in a row. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. That our cost so far is 33.33 because I remember from before, and I'm glad this didn't change. It shouldn't have, but I guess with the rounding, you never really know. But I know that the heuristic value of our start node at this distance was 144. The estimate was that it was going to be 144 ticks was our best case scenario for reaching the goal. And so this is saying that right now the node we're currently looking at has it's taken 33 ticks to get here, and we think it's going to take 111 ticks to get the rest of the way. And that adds up. So that's a good sign. I do want to. I'm just because I want to see. I'm going to check through the parents again on this and see if they're all actually thrust fronts. I would think they are. If we've gotten here optimally, which it looks like we have, I expect all of these parents to, excuse me, have used the thrust front command. And that is great. That is what I want to see. And I'm going to have to scoot this so that I have space to keep expanding this box. All right. All right. Yeah, we can still see. That's fine. Front, front. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that is our source node. Every command I saw, other than this one, obviously, was thrust front. It's possible my eyes drifted and I missed one, but everyone that I saw, everyone that I read and was processed by my brain said thrust front. And that's what we're looking for. So that is a great sign. So now I'm going to take a quick peek and see what comes up when we generate neighbors. I'm just going to step right over it and let it do the processing. So right now we're at 3333 and our prediction is 111. Actually, this worked well when I pinned this last time so that if I accidentally drift away from it, it kind of stays up. Will you stop that? There we go. Okay. So if we thrust back, that's going completely the wrong direction. It's of course always going to be 34, and then something 33 plus the number of thrusters we fired. So since it's 1, it's 34, 34. And we think it's 112, 112. That tracks because it should take, we're going the wrong way. So it should take, we should have to compensate by going forward once again. That tracks. If we thrust down, we still think it's only going to take 111 ticks, which is right because it will take fewer than that to get back up, but it's going to take 3 extra thruster activations, which is exactly right.
if we thrust both down and back, we're going the wrong direction and off to the side. So, yep, that's fine. Thrust up, 111, 114, that's perfect. Same thing, perfect. Up and down. Yeah, up and down at the same time means we're not actively accelerating ourselves further forward. Um, it would be reasonable for this to have actually decremented down to 110, depending on how fast we're going when we coast. But I'm glad, like, it's nice to see that it is 111. I mean, our best possible outcome is that we're accelerating as much as possible until we have to start braking so that we can actually reach zero in time. But yeah, so that makes sense. We have an extra thruster activation because we used two of them, but we didn't get off course. So our best case scenario is still activating the forward thrusters 111 more times. That one's just a mess. That's basically up and down cancel each other out, just going back, put a bunch of extra activations. Thrust front, that's our good one. Drops us to 110. That's exactly what we want to see. Front and back, that's again effectively null. Front and down, drop to 110, but extra activations. Yeah, okay, this looks right. This looks exactly right. Exactly right. Great. I'm not going to look at all of these. 64 is a lot to parse through. Okay, I'm going to drop the breakpoint. I'm going to continue test, and we're going to see if it finds a route to the goal. And I have to decide how long I give it before I decide it's maybe not going to actually find it, which I'm thinking we're hitting that point now. All right, so there may still be a problem in the code somewhere. And that's fine. That's fine. It happens. But we fixed one. We can fix another. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't have taken anywhere near this long. So, kill it. I'm going to go ahead and set the breakpoint here. Actually, go ahead and set that same condition from before. Can you autofill the previous condition I had set? That'd be convenient. What was the variable I was basing this on? It was the tick nodes processed. Yeah, that one. Tick nodes processed is greater than 33, because that's where we were. That's what we were looking at last time. So we're pretty sure we got to the right node there, and so I'm gonna just step through one by one and see at what point it starts getting off again. So I'm gonna look at our current state, 33, 111. That looks right. So we're just gonna step through 34, 110, 35, 109. Yep, I'm just gonna keep clicking this until one of these goofs. And I would not be surprised if it happens right around, ooh, nope, happens sooner than I thought. Happened sooner than I thought. Okay, that's all right. So, this is saying that our current most promising node is one in which we use reverse thrust. So at this point, we're 55 ticks in. We're getting close, because at what it will be, 72 ticks is where we expect to hit our maximum speed and have to start braking. And that's kind of where I thought this might break, was when we hit max speed and have to do that reverse. evaluation. So this is a little before that. So yeah, we're saying here that even though we reversed, we still think it's only going to take 89 ticks to reach the goal. And it's possible that actually tracks with the rounding. It's possible. I hate to admit. Yeah, because once we're already going this fast, it's, although still the thrust front should have been better. I guess they could have been considered equivalent. I'm gonna step through again without just to see, because I expect to see one where the G score is 55-55 and the H score is 89-89, where we just did thrust forward. There's also probably going to be one with the same score where we did not fire any thrusters, and there may also be one where we fired just one of the left, right, up, or down. Those should be the only 6 that would show up, but let's see. Thrust front, there we go. Now we're on to the thrust front. Now we're continuing. Question, is this thrust front, is its parent the reverse thrust? Oh, shit, it is. Yeah, okay, okay, okay. That's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Hmm. Mhm. Yep, I see where we're just kind of expanding outwards. We're adding more and more states that are all considered roughly equivalent. But it's still mostly working. Like it's fine. It's fine if the algorithm has to check a few of the neighbors that are close enough. Like that really is okay. Oh yeah, actually I guess it makes sense that our like left, right, up, and down thrusters didn't show up, because those probably evaluated the same time heuristic score, but they would have required extra thrusters to be fired. So that's why they got filtered out. The thrust backwards and thrust forwards keep us on the right axis. So they're both states where we only fired one thruster. Yeah, this tracks. This is okay. It's not ideal, but it's okay. Now we're mixing in some of the older ones. Hmm. Yep. I hope this makes some sense to those of you watching. I'm not sure the best way to concisely describe what's happening. I feel like there's a diagram I could draw. But I don't have a lot of great tools for that. This is kind of weird. It's kind of weird that there's so much variation here near the middle. I get some. I wouldn't expect to see quite this many children. So, all right, let me give it a go. Let me give it a go. How can I do this? Let's do like this. I'm going to switch my input to be that. All right, cool. There's my OneNote. So, and talking through this may help me too. Like again, not calling you guys my rubber duckies for nothing. Like I'm explaining this to you, but I'm also explaining it to you as a way to force me to focus my thoughts on it and possibly find the solution. Obviously, if there's somebody watching and like sees something is like, oh yeah, you should do this, feel free to contribute. I have no problem with that. Um, but yeah, for right now, I'm just gonna talk through this. I don't know why I'm doing this in the same bin. I could just start a new one, right? All right, so this is gonna be I don't know. I'm gonna try this. So here, say we're thrusting forward over and over again. This is terrible. Here we go. Thrusting forward a bunch of times. This is what happened. And we went out, I don't know, 50 or 60 iterations, and this was always considered right and optimal. Or actually, oh yeah, this is a good way to this will be a good way to show it. I'm not going to necessarily have the proportions exactly right because I don't need to put out 144 of these. But here's, oh wow, thanks OneNote. So here's the idea. Pretend there are the same number of F's and R's here. I'm going to add a little dash here in the middle just for clarity's sake. Probably very nearly not the same number. I feel like we're a couple R's short. There. So the ship accelerates forward a whole bunch, and then it gets to this midpoint and says, okay, if I'm going to be going 0 meters per second when I reach my goal, I need to start reversing. And it reverses from that point on to slow down. This is the ideal goal. This is what I expect the result to look like. So far, we are, say, here. And so far, everything has been, we've always been evaluating that first optimal node where the next step is accelerating forward, it's moving us in the right direction. This is what we're supposed to be doing. And from here, I want to say, okay, what does it look like if I go forward one more time? And say, okay, it looks good, it looks great. Now, what does it look like if I thrust backwards instead? Now, logically, as a human, I know that's probably dumb. That's not productive. But the computer is evaluating every possibility to see what happens. And with a simple routing solution like this, that's overkill, right? Like going in the wrong direction is never going to be right. The idea is that this is preparation for when we start having to like avoid obstacles. Right now it's never going to be correct to go in reverse or go, up, right, left, or down out of the way. But if there turns out there's an obstacle in the way, we may not realize that. We're going to try going in a straight line, then it turns out, oh hey, going in a straight line isn't going to work because I'm going to crash. So what if we take a step back? Crashing's bad, but what if I veer off the beaten path a little further back, and then we try going in a straight line? Well, that's probably going to crash too, but then we veer a little bit off of that, and a little bit off of that, and it finds its way around the obstacles. It's very cool, and there's some cool visualizations of it. I'm pretty sure the Wikipedia page on the A-star algorithm has a very neat visualization on like a simple 2D grid, um, and I'd recommend you check it out. Actually, why would I do that? Why would I do that when I can just do this? So that blue line is the current path. These green ones are the frontier nodes that it's checking. And I assume it's trying to get to this corner. And yeah, it's scanning, scanning, scanning. And sometimes, ideally, it would go, and in this case, it seems like going diagonally is probably an equivalent cost to going orthogonally. So this whole, diagonal is essentially equal cost to get to the goal. Um, but it's got to find its way around these. There's actually, I think there's another neat one. Oh yeah, this one's kind of cool to watch too. Um, so yeah, you can see this one is trying to go in a straight line, and then when that doesn't work out, it's like, all right, well, what if I spread out a little bit? Uh, and it ends up spreading out until it manages to get around a corner, and then it follows as straight a line as it can to reach the actual goal and finds a good path. So that's what it's trying to do. When there are no obstacles, A star is totally overkill. Totally overkill. Honestly, even for the space engineer's case, even if there are obstacles, there may be better ways to do this, but um, we'll get there in a little bit. Right now, yeah, back to this. So we're still checking to see if reverse is valid. We want to know what it's going to take. And so I think or not I think, I know what's happening here is that we look at, okay, from this point, if we go forward, it's good. It means, we have whatever it was, 110 steps left to go. The thing is, if we hit reverse, we're already going fast enough and we're close enough to this midpoint that going reverse just once doesn't slow us down a ton. And it's close enough that when we round, uh, well, I guess I have to go all the way out here back to where I added in that rounding. It's close enough that when we do this rounding, it actually also comes out to 110. And for the moment, they're considered equal. Now, if we do forward, forward, forward several times and reverse, reverse, reverse several times, those are going to come out different. This one's going to now be, 104 or whatever, and this one's going to have gone up to 112, roughly. I'm making up the numbers. But before we get there, we're saying, all right, these both look like they're basically the same as far as the algorithm can tell so far. Because if we just went forward, 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 forward from here, it would get there almost as fast as this one would. It's only slightly behind because of or yeah, it's only slightly behind, and it's slight enough that rounding to the nearest tick actually makes them equivalent. And so then we look and we're like, all right, well, let's check from here. What if we go forward and forward? That looks good. We go forward and reverse. That's also going to be close enough to be the same. And then we go reverse and forward. That's also going to look pretty much the same. If we go reverse and reverse, that might be bad enough to cut out. But we still have 3 different states here that are basically the same. And we can go on from there, adding in forward's still going to be good. Forward, reverse, forward's pretty good. Reverse, forward, forward's pretty good. Also, oh wow, that was too much. Hold up. Also, one that we hadn't necessarily seen, the forward, forward, reverse is getting good. And again, these are all evaluating to basically the same. And this just gets bigger and bigger, wider and wider every step we take. And it'll go away eventually. Once our speed slows back down and we get, into this stage, basically the mirror of where we were fine over here, it should even back out. It'll at least stop growing. But the fact that this grows bigger and bigger for every step from that 80, not 80, like 60 to 80 range, is that about what it was? Uh, really just kind of kills the algorithm. It kind of kills its performance. I think it will still find a solution eventually. I guess I could test it. I guess I could let it run. This is still paused. Yeah. All right, let's let it go. Let's give it a run. I should have just been letting it go in the background while I explained this. Um, but yeah, hopefully that makes some sense. I think the way I explained it, I think I explained it correctly, and I think I'm understanding it correct. I think I'm understanding correctly that this is what's happening too, but I don't know if it helps me. I'm not really sure how best to resolve that. Um, I do have one idea. Is that valid? I don't know. Well, so the simple explanation is to be more precise. Don't just round to the nearest. Don't just round to the nearest tick. Be more precise, because then at least it'll be easier to cut off some of these. Um, but yikes. Yeah. All right. So turns out maybe there's a downside to too much rounding. Rounding all the way to the nearest tick is maybe too much. Uh, damn, you're still going. Yeah, that's not a great sign. All right. Well, that certainly gives me something to think about. So, where do I go from here? I could go back to doing that, 4-digit precision rounding. Um, or maybe I can do even more than that. Um, the positional comparisons, um, as I talked about last stream. I think that's in my states. Yeah, the is being rounded to. I think right now it's set to 4 decimal places. Like that's fine, but I don't necessarily have to use the same level of precision for rounding my times. Maybe I can, because as we saw with those division operations, like these matched out to a lot more than 4 decimal places. Um, it was more like 10. So maybe I can be a little more precise with those, and be a little bit more vague with matching positions, because that kind of makes sense too, right? I mean, it makes some sense. I guess they're both just trying to eliminate rounding error. I wonder if there's a good way to know how many decimal places of rounding error to expect. Guess I could go to Google. See what comes up. Uh, sure. Let's start with Wikipedia. So, whoa, that's bright. Whoa, it's dark in this room, and that's very bright. Mhm. Yep, this is our big problem. uh, yeah, and I think it's mostly caused by representation error. Feels very quiet in here right now. Yeah, so this is I know I've mentioned epsilon in past streams. I mean, this is the epsilon I was talking about. Um, Maximum possible absolute relative error in representing a non-zero real number x in a floating point number system. Smallest number such that, Jesus, I don't know exactly what all of these are supposed to represent. I honestly don't know what the x and the f1 are supposed to represent. Maybe that was better defined above on something that I skimmed. Approximation of a given real number x by fx1. Is the f1x just any given function? So it very depends on what kind of operation you're performing. I suspect that's what it means. It's like the f1 could be, your multiplication or your division, or doing an exponent or a root or whatever. So it might be different results. X minus f1 of x. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm reading that right. Yeah. Sure. All right. I'm not gonna read all that. Okay. Yeah. Oh man, I remember reading about some of this stuff. Stable and unstable algorithms. That sounds very familiar, but that's an echo from a class some number of years ago. Yeah, let's take a look at our thing. It's still running. Yeah, that's not great. All right, so if I went through and read some of this a little bit closer, I might be able to get some ideas of maybe changes I could make to my operations to reduce round off error. But at any rate, I don't know. I don't know where I should change things. It's also possible that this is a sign that it's time to switch gears once again. I will say I've been thinking about kind of transitioning away from using the A-star algorithm for this simple routing. Um, I think it's an extremely valuable and powerful algorithm, but I think I've used the word overkill many times during this stream. Um, and yeah, it's not wrong. um, yeah, it's overkill. Um, if I'm routing it, and here's the cool thing is and this is kind of something I realized as I was writing this. I was writing the algorithm in the A star format. Anytime I have been calculating the heuristic and I've been improving my heuristic function with different iterations of this, like when we added in braking, um, I'm using this to calculate my best guess at the most efficient way to reach the goal from where we are now. And right now, I'm inclined to believe my best guess is pretty accurate. And I'm going through every thruster on the ship, grouping them into axes and saying, hey, I'm pretty sure to get there, I'm going to need to activate a thruster on this axis some number of times, accelerating, and then I'm going to need to activate the reverse one some number of times to brake, and then I'll reach zero. And I might do that on multiple axes. And I'm pretty sure if I do that, I'm going to reach my goal at the speed I want to be going. Which means, as part of calculating the heuristic of the best guess as to what it's going to take to reach my goal, I've already worked out exactly what I need to do to reach my goal. I just need to activate the, I guess I don't have the specific thruster mentioned, it's up higher, but I need to activate my acceleration thrusters this many times and my braking thrusters this many times, and I'm going to get there. Like that's the route. And like I described earlier, that doesn't account for obstacles. And that's part of the reason I wanted to implement A star, was because I thought that it would be an efficient way to navigate obstacles. However, that's not the only way to navigate obstacles. It might be okay to make a slightly dumber algorithm that runs without all this bullshit that's causing this to run for minutes to find an 8-meter route. Um, Now, obviously, it's running that long because there's an issue. It's not able to successfully find the route. So that's kind of different. But at any rate, um, yeah, I could do something different. I scan the area and say, oh, hey, there's an obstacle here. What if I can do some more basic routing. Um, Maybe not more basic, but a different kind of algorithm. Um, that says, yeah, let's go back to that A star um, page. If I want to, if I've got an asteroid in, all right, that's tiny, whatever, it's good enough. If I've got an asteroid in front of me that's this shape, then maybe I don't need to know that the exact most efficient path is, you know, this one here. Maybe I can do it more generally and be like, hey, if I go in a straight line out to around this corner, and then I go to a straight line to my goal, that'll get me there. It might get me there a few seconds slower. Likely it's a fraction of a second slower, but it probably takes so much less work to calculate. And if I am already good at flying in a straight line and I can just find that route, and that's just a different problem to try and solve, it's a similar problem. So, I may start running into some of the same things, but I think this is an opportunity to explore different algorithms that I'm unfamiliar with. I've used A star before in college for various things, but they were all much more um, discrete. Like space engineers it's a simulation, and it's it's everything is digitalized to some extent, but it's still a continuous space. And routing in a continuous space is different than routing on this kind of grid. This grid here in this example is what, maybe 20 by 20 nodes, um, which is fine. Like if I, what am I trying to get at? Um, if all I had to do was jump from one node to the next in a 20 by 20 grid, that's so much easier. When there are maybe not an infinite, not a truly infinite, but functionally infinite number of smaller nodes in between, that gets a lot harder to route in. That's kind of what I'm working in. I'm restricting it a little bit in terms of how far I can travel in one tick of time, but I'm still not limited to traveling just on this rigid grid. So if I abstract it away a little bit and, abstract this into a path, maybe I'm evaluating a path in discrete meters. I say, hey, if I don't account for speeds or anything, and I'm just looking at 1 meter sized blocks, what's a straight line path? Or yeah, what's a couple straight line segments that can get me around the obstacles I'm looking at to the goal I want to reach? Those are probably pretty damn good. And that's going to take so much less work to calculate. I like the A-star algorithm's an option, and I would like to refine it and make it better so that I can bust out it or something similar in situations that require very precision maneuvers. Because it may be that, like, when it comes time to dock a ship, I want to use very precise maneuvers so that I can line up the whatever, I can't remember the name of the component now, um, but the the docking pipes basically, and not the conveyors. The conveyors are the all right. Well, I haven't been in game the whole time. I guess I should jump into the game and I can just look at the block and see what it's called. Uh, Man, it's been so long since I actually built a ship. I can't remember what the block is called. Anyway, if I'm wanting to dock a ship, I may need to make very precise movements to maneuver it. And if I'm limiting the thrusters to very small movements, then I don't have so many problems with, overshooting, um, and some of the rounding errors may become less significant, and maybe I find a more efficient way to maneuver the ship in that case too. But yeah, it'll be something different. Oh, sorry, I wanted to jump back to OBS so I could swap my stuff. Actually, I'm going to switch this back to just capturing that specifically so I can move my OBS to this monitor. And wow, is Space Engineers just dying on me? Oh, nope, there it goes. We'll switch back to this. Hi, ship. And I just remember what the block is called. It's called a connector. The connector block. So yeah, if I'm trying to maneuver a ship so that I can line up the connector blocks, get into the game, and then I remember the name of the block. Perfect. Then that becomes a different problem and a specific problem, and it's reasonable to maybe bust out the more precise A-star style algorithm for that. But for general routing, clearly this is just way too expensive. I I love that I wrote it. It is unbelievable how much I've learned about interacting with the in-game objects, because it had been a while since I did much of that. And like I said, this is an algorithm that I'm at least somewhat familiar with, so I kind of knew what I was doing from that perspective, and it allowed me to figure out, how to work with the thrusters and the ship controller and all that. Um, and it'll make other stuff easier. And I'll probably come back to this and reuse it, but I don't need to do that now. I can't believe this is still running. I'm just gonna kill it. Clearly it's running into something else. Oh, that's exhausting. But yeah, but I think that's right. I think it's right to reserve this for different use. And I think it's going to be much more interesting if I can actually get ships doing stuff, even if it's not perfectly the exact optimal solution, which is the kind of thing that A-Star can find. I'd like to see that, but if I can find a solution that gets me there and takes me 10% extra time, eh, that's not so bad, especially if it takes almost no effort to calculate those routes. And realistically, 10% extra time is probably a vast overestimate. It's probably more like 2 or 3% extra time. Um, but I kind of want to move on. I it feels like I'm spinning my wheels on getting this A star actually off the ground for something more than a few meters. So I think maybe it's time to move on to that. And I'm not gonna start that tonight because I'm gonna have to do some Visual Studio setup, and that doesn't really sound fun to do in front of my rubber duckies. I don't necessarily need you for that. Um, but I'll need you for the implementation. So don't you worry. I'll uh I'll be online for the good stuff. So what time is it? It's not even midnight. Well, I don't really think there's anything in Space Engineers I particularly want to resume with. Like, I kind of feel like, yeah, I'm ready to change gears on that algorithm. Like I said, I don't want to start up. So, I don't know, play another game? Oh, I've been doing a little bit of the Guild Wars stuff. Maybe we should play some of that. Let's see. I don't really have a great interim screen. I do have this one though that just kind of says paused. Um, just because I don't since I don't have a camera up because it's late here. Nobody wants to see that. Um, I'm sitting here in my PJs. So it's not really a good way to pull up a chatting screen like a lot of streamers will use. So I'll just use this temporarily. Actually, while I'm doing this, I suppose I will switch my title and whatnot over to Guild Wars stuff while Guild Wars is spinning up. All right. Putting space on hold for tonight. Let's do some Icebrood Saga. And I should probably switch my game to Guild Wars 2. And I probably don't need the programming tags anymore, because I don't expect I'll really be doing a lot of programming in Guild Wars. I won't rule it out. You never really know, but I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised. All right. Should be ready any minute here. There we are. So I did play a little bit of this off stream too. I'm not necessarily really committed to finishing all of Icebrood on stream, but I want to finish it before I move on to the new expansion content. But I finished the prologue episode of Icebrood. So we finished up the big char party, which was, I mean, that was pretty fun. Nothing quite measured up to that metal concert event. That was, as much as the music wasn't particularly exciting, and I like metal, it was kind of boring music. The event itself was very cool. That was fun. But yeah, turns out because Aurene crashed the party, and the Imperator in charge made a big deal about needed to keep my dragon in line. And I went around and talked to a bunch of the other Char leadership, and they were pretty much all okay with it. It's pretty much just that one guy that was throwing a fit about it. And he ended up trying to kill me and Ritlock. We didn't die. Also, I don't know if we knew this, but Ryland Steel Catcher, whatever his name is. Ryland is Ritlock's son. Ritlock and, wow, now I can't remember her name. The other character we met. I mean, Krisha. Ryland is Ritlock and Krisha's son. Which was at least implied, and that may have been explicitly stated earlier in the story. I did most of the story 10 years ago, so I don't remember. Last time I met Ryland. I know I had met Ryland before, but I didn't remember him well enough. But yeah, we followed Bangar out, and Ryland is with him, and so we're a little afraid of that. Ritlock is not a fan that his kid has taken up with Bangar, who tried to kill us and he's basically trying to go get his own Elder Dragon because he doesn't like that we have Aurene, who's now considered an Elder Dragon because she's got those powers, and he's not okay with that.
Commander, it's General Soulkeeper.
But yeah, we'll see what they have to say.
Hear me?
Continue with the next chapter.
Almora, we've been trying to reach you. Bangar's after Jormag.
I have good news. The blizzard has finally let up.
Yes, but we need to stop Bangar from trying to...
I know about Bangar's aspirations. He passed through here not long ago. You may still be able to catch up with him. But first, I need your help here at Jorah's Keep.
What kind of help?
Bring whoever you can. We'll talk there. Soulkeeper out.
Ridlock, did that seem strange to you?
Yeah. I'll get a vigil squad ready to go. Just give the word and we'll check it out.
All right. Where? Oh, we're not going to be exploring the new region? Or actually, oh, I guess it's not new. Oh, I see. We just popped back out here. That's where the party was going on. Okay, that's fine. We can head back to Ascalon. Actually, I suppose I knew that a lot of... I don't know this area well enough to know which waypoint I should actually jump to. Let's try that one. I remember now that I know a fair bit of Icebrood Saga actually takes place on the old Tyria regions, because when I was hunting for mastery points in Tyria, there were some that showed up on the map, but I couldn't figure out how to get to them, and looking them up on the wiki, turns out you can only get to them while doing Icebrood Saga missions. Like, well, that's great. Why are they on my map then? Cool. Looks like that was the perfect waypoint to jump in at.
Ready when you are. It'll
Oh,
be good to see
hi,
Almora's
Marjorie.
War Master
You're
again.
invisible. There we go.
Javi's been stationed at the keep, while Almora helped us fight Kralkatorrik. Bet she hated being cooped up like that.
Seems like you know Javi pretty well.
We trained in necromancy together a long time ago. She's incredibly efficient, but she has some big shoes to fill. Especially given that the keep is named after her ancestor.
Have you talked to her recently? Did she say anything about Almora?
No. But I overheard that call. I'm sure things will be clear when we talk to her. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, that was a weird call. Silence. Still kind of sad that I wasn't quite able to solve that space engineer's problem quite as efficiently as I wanted to. I'll try not to dwell on it too much while I'm actively playing Guild Wars, but it sucks. But still, looking forward to what I have planned.
Smoother.
So, it's alright.
Give me a break. I could barely see in all this snow. It's a miracle we landed at all.
What kind of pilot are you? Actually, I get it. Hi, everybody. Oh,
So much for that blizzard letting up.
Whatever Almora needs must be urgent.
As long as it gets us closer to stomping Bangar into the snow.
Brimstone.
That's the
we
plan.
agreed we would postpone judgment until we talked to him.
yeah, Krisha's still not
agreed.
totally convinced that
I just
Bangar's
want my bow back.
totally gone.
It's weird being here again. After we fought
Oh yeah,
Jormag, I
and
thought I left this
Ryland
place
took
behind.
Bram's bow.
Left my guildmates behind. Guess I had to face them again eventually. Maybe now I can make up for everything. Bet Javi's treated them well. The gate's open.
And no one here to greet us. This isn't like Almora. Or Javi.
Seems
Something
bad.
feels off. Stay alert.
Wait, did I get a mastery point for my... Oh, nope. Thought maybe I would have gotten a mastery point for finishing the prologue.
Almora? Javi!
Everyone's gone.
Maybe they're on patrol.
The entire camp?
Something about this place makes my fur stand on end.
Not a single guard. This isn't right.
The barracks are in here. Should we check it out?
Seems as good a place to start as any. What do we think? Dead bodies in the barracks? I feel like probably not, but who knows?
Spirits.
Oh, never mind. Ow. Magic.
We're locked in.
You felt that push, right? Seems like some sort of defense system.
I felt it before. Raven's spirit magic. Might be something Javi set up. She follows Raven.
Commander, we tried opening the door from the outside, but no luck. We're going to check the other buildings while you find a way out.
Look at this place. Who did this?
So yeah, these looks like Vigil armor, so I think these are the Vigil soldiers that were presumably here.
Alpha. She was one of my guildmates. Garm used to rest his head in her lap.
I'm sorry, Bram.
She followed me because she thought I was our people's savior. They all did. Now I'll never get to make it right. did. I failed them.
What?
Didn't you hear? Nothing. Never mind.
Oh, Graham's hearing voices. Awesome.
Look, it opened.
What up? Graham? Oh. Alright. Ancient
What is
scepter.
this? It looks like some
Well.
kind of lens.
Now I have
Look at
mastery.
the silhouette. Raven. This might be our way out. I remember seeing a totem by the door.
Ah. Alright. We can now unlock Raven locks. Great. Let's check out this note. Oh. I found Javi's 4th research note. Huh. While they slept or while they were slowed to a stop with cold. Stabbed with a visual weapon. That's weird.
Commander, stay back!
Svanir.
He's dead. The Vigil put up a fight.
Sons of Svanir. Did they do all of this? Always brushed them off as fanatics, preaching their stupid dragon gospel, even in Holbrook. I never thought.
Huh.
Who's
Come
there?
Closer.
Commander, you okay?
I must be hearing things.
Wait, is there... oh, okay. Well, Bram was already hearing things earlier, so... Huh. Alright, let's check out this Raven Totem.
It worked. Looks like we were right. Wonder what else it can do.
We found the Vigil soldiers. They're all dead.
Burn me. Almora too?
Didn't find her, I don't think.
We didn't see her.
No sign of her in the other buildings either.
War Javi. Both the General and her War Master are missing. That strike you as weird.
Hey,
Very.
take a look at this. I found these marks under the snow. Looks like someone was dragged off.
Think it's Elmora or Javi?
Possibly. And judging by the scuff marks, there was a struggle, which means they were alive.
Then we need to go out there and track them down, whoever they are.
You forget what we're here for? Every second we spend searching, Bangar takes Ryland farther from us.
You want to leave Elmora to die? That's one of your own out there, Whitlock. One of ours.
Ryland is ours too.
Much more literally.
Yeah, fine.
But, yeah,
I'll stay here
I
and
think
keep
we're gonna need
investigating.
Elmora.
With any luck, I'll find something that can help.
Whitlock and I will send the relief crew to scout the area.
I'm coming with you. If any of my guildmates survived, I need to find them.
Bring them back, Commander. We'll be waiting.
Stay.
Stay.
Guys, this is my fault. All of it. If I hadn't lost my bow...
You mean if you hadn't gotten blackout drunk on a diplomacy mission?
Don't blame him, Brimstone. Ryland knew what he was doing. Loosen the target up, drop their defenses. I taught him that trick myself.
Guildmates, I didn't talk about them much. They followed me all the way to Jormak, believed I could beat the dragon, save the Norn. When I failed, I couldn't face them. we'll find him. So I'm curious, because I'm pretty sure that voice said stay. Curious if anything happens if I sit here for a minute. But chances are I'm going to need to actually follow the mission instructions and leave. Don't really want to just sit here forever. That took my time. Bye.
That looks
Okay.
valuable.
Whoever took Javi and Almora would have left tracks. So, we just need to look for those.
Are you okay? You seem distracted.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, so we have... Oh wow. Oh, that's nice. I guess these automatically... When I maxed out my XP on Raven Bond, I guess it started giving me XP in these others. Automatically. That's great. So this is already ready to go once I get a mastery point. Okay. Not totally sure what all this means, but I suppose I'll learn more as we go on. Guess let's look for clues.
Just like I thought. Svanir tracks. The same scuff marks we saw on the keep. They had prisoners.
Might be your guildmates.
If I hadn't abandoned them at the keep.
We're here now.
Alright, Bram.
That's what matters.
Don't dwell on it too much.
Snow's all churned here. One of the prisoners tried to put up a fight.
Oh. This may be telling me what the essence manipulation is about. Okay. Ah. Oh, so I guess he can train me. Alright, well I don't have any of the masteries yet anyway, so I probably don't need to bother with that. But I'll go do it at some point.
Bram, look. That lens we picked up is reacting to this area.
For the one who
Raven.
speaks.
He's trying to show us something. Let's look around.
I've seen the end. Kill him.
Kill him? Kill who? Oh. Thought it was leading me to the shrine. Apparently it's leading me this way.
You were one of us, and you killed them all.
It's Javi.
They're cowards. They're playing for the winning side. They'll get theirs in the end. Just like Krakatorik.
Volar, please, at least let me kill the mouthy one. No. Shoreline wants them both alive. For now.
How is this? They betrayed Almora and Javi. Killed all those people.
Who are they?
My guildmates.
Okay. Weird.
My fault. If I had been there...
So
if you need some time to...
No. No. Raven is showing us how to find them. We need to keep going. We need to fix this.
I'll return you to dust. Kill shot.
Okay. So I need one of the essence manipulation, or yeah. So that message popped up, said this was vigilance essence manipulation, I guess. So all right, I'll need the masteries to do that.
They kept going west. Where were the traders taking them?
Well, my glowy orb thing is telling me to go this way. Oh, there we go.
This was just a patrol. They didn't need to die. Why are they doing this? Why is this happening? Listen to me. When we start moving again, I'll create a distraction. You run. We took our comms, but if you make it back to the keep, call the Pact Commander. Let me do it. You go. The Vigil needs you. That's an order, Javi.
Olar has a scar on his left shoulder. Threw himself in front of a Svanir sword to protect my flank. And now he's just slaughtering. I should have been there. I should have been there.
I know this isn't easy, but Almora and Javi might have escaped. We have to see what happens next.
I think if they escaped,
I'm
they
so
would let
tired.
us know.
They need us, Bram. We can find them, but we have to work together.
Fewer tracks here. They lost someone.
Javi got away.
Or they... Yeah, maybe Javi got away.
There you go. Learning some optimism. Alright, well, maybe we should do some fighting.
I feel strong.
Wow.
I recommend you run.
I'm getting beat on.
Refreshing. Buster. That was worth it. Can't breathe. Armored up.
Oops. Oh, good. Bram times down 2. Well, probably not gonna survive this. That's awkward. Alright, so maybe went a little too head-on into all that, but it happens. Is there a repair station? Yeah.
Without how boring it is, how many more of our predator bodies do you need to burn to get that into your skull?
You know what? Yeah. Since we are back here anyway, I kind of want to check in with this trainer. I kind of wonder if there's a chance he actually gives me a mastery point to test with. So he's been working on essence manipulation. Use spirits of the wild's inspiration. Short, I've weaponized spirit essence against the very beings that produce it. Pylons represent resilience, vigilance, and valor. Resilience is weak to vigilance, valor is weak to resilience, and vigilance is weak to valor. How is anybody supposed to remember that? Raven Attunement Tier 2 is mastered. Start training essence manipulation to harness its power. So I guess that's saying I should do Raven Tier 2 first.
Right. Here's how it works.
Sure. I'm gonna
attack that pylon of resilience and collect the orbs of essence it drops.
Oh, I'm not gonna be able to. Okay. I'm not. I guess I can see. I don't know. Maybe it will work.
Strong.
Well done. Now imbue yourself to the maximum threshold. Collect more orbs of essence.
Okay.
Experiencing the power of the resilience essence. Attack the target dummy to channel your new power.
Okay.
Now, open that chest. It's vulnerable to the element you're harnessing, and can only be opened if you've mastered it. Looks like you need to develop your essence manipulation. Come back when you've progressed in your training.
Okay. Okay. This seems like a really weird mechanic. But interesting. Alright. Where are we going? Follow this. West.
Nice trick you tried to pull back there. Raven would be proud.
Where did you take her?
Your general has killed her last dragon. What do we do with this one? The forest. There's a cave where Jormak can speak to her in peace.
So they killed Elmora?
Show them the way.
Cave in the forest.
Oh, has it been her?
That's where
speaking to
Javi
us?
is. And the lens must be reacting because of her. But what about Elmora?
Stop.
Commander?
I said stop.
You hear it too, don't you? That voice.
It isn't Raven, is it?
Come on. We're almost there. It's just like you said. Javi needs us.
Not really sure what's gonna happen.
Your guildmates. I understand if you want me to handle this by myself.
The blood they spilled is on my people's hands. I'm Norn. It's my duty to make them answer for it. There's more Raven magic here. Try the lens.
Out of my head! Get out!
You hear that?
Yeah, that was a person talking, Bram.
Damn. Oh, I should have known. Can't resist playing the hero, can you?
Wait, Bram Vowbreaker? Raven
Bram
led you here?
Vowbreaker?
Vowbreaker.
Why
Wouldn't
are you
you
still
know?
stuck up there?
That's what they call you in the Shiver Peaks now.
I own my mistakes, Olar. Now it's your turn. I saw what you did. The Vigil were your people.
No, these are my people. The sons of Svanir were there when you weren't. Showed us the truth about Jormag.
No, this isn't...
Brothers, take them down.
I feel strong. Blade of the earth. Your seams are showing. Oh, that had to hurt.
Well, they didn't put up too much of a fight.
Olar, please. We fought together, side by side. Don't do this.
I was a child then. Now I understand Jormag isn't the real enemy. The Dragon Killers are. You won't leave us again, Graham. You're going to stay forever.
Blood of the earth. Buster.
Elmora, did you find her?
Not yet. But she was the one who called us here, so she must be alive out there.
Called you? But the Svanir took our comms, so we couldn't call the Dragon Killer, they said. Our own people. All the male Norn. They turned on us. Let the sons of Svanir through our gate while we slept. Jormag...
Whispered to them. Just like we're being whispered to now.
That voice.
That's Jormag?
The one in the back of my mind.
Alright.
It's Jormag.
Javi, what did Jormag say to you?
That Svanir's blood runs through me. That it's my legend to complete his work. Help the Freyr take the region.
Your name is Jorah's daughter. Your legend is to finish her work, not his.
Javi, what is the Freyr?
The Sons of Svanir's highest officer, chosen by Jormag. Blizzard. The attack on the Keep. It's all his doing. They've had this region in a stranglehold since Almora arrived. The attacks never stop. And then there are the disappearances. If this goes on any longer, I don't know how we're going to survive.
Well, okay, the Freyr is the one leading the attacks, right? We stop him, we stop the Sons of Svanir.
Exactly. But he's protected in the Raven Sanctum. Somehow, he's using stolen Raven magic to seal himself inside. Before the attack, Almora and I were working on a way to enter the Sanctum using ancient Raven lenses.
Like the one that led us here.
Raven lenses reveal the spirit essence we leave behind, but it only works on Norn. I use that to guide you here, to me. We need 2 lenses to enter the Sanctum. The one you found was mine. The other one, Almora has it.
We gotta find her, Commander. If the Svanir have her, she's in danger. I'll search their camps.
Alright, well, I guess
Riddler, Jory, I
deciding
found Javi. But we need to form a search party for Almora, quickly.
Kree and I can check prisoner camps.
I think I discovered where Vigil soldiers are disappearing to. I'll keep following their trail. It may lead to Almora.
Good idea. I'll be there soon to help. And be careful, all of you. If you hear anything strange, don't listen.
Bring her back, Commander. Please.
Finished with that.
Huh. Alright. Finding the lens, following the trail, is Raven's doing. It's hard to tell. A lot of the time it seems like they're being pretty literal about that kind of thing. Like, we have met, what, 2 of the Tyrian gods? So, you know, literally Raven interfering here. I don't know. Yeah, what did happen with the keep? Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. They just waited till night and they let the Sons of Svanir in the gate. Alright. Okay. So they didn't kill Almora because Jormag wanted to talk to both of them. I guess that makes sense. Alright, so Bram search the barracks, Marjorie search the ritual sites, Locke and Grisha search prisoners. Everybody needs my help. Alright, I guess let's go down here first.
Commander, I followed the trail of missing Vigil soldiers, and it leads to this.
Then Almora could be here.
We need to free these captives first.
Captains, Marjorie?
Blood of the earth. Buster.
A lot of these Aberrant creatures. They don't really seem to be stopping me from freeing prisoners. They're probably easier to kill than there are.
We have to get rid of the ritual anchors and...
Again.
Tearing flesh from bone.
That's Belinda's voice. The necromancer drew her out. He's hurting her.
Jory, that's not Belinda. It's Jormag. You saw what happened to the captives. It's the same trick.
Amora isn't here. We should keep following the trail. If you want to help... No, you go on ahead.
Armored up.
Alright. Let's head north. Ooh, should I try to pick up this mastery point? Seems like that could be handy. Or if it's... oh no, definitely not in this cave. This cave's actually kind of small. Oh, well not in that part of the cave anyway. This looks possibly promising. Hey, there we go. Alright. So, do I save it for Raven's Light 2? Or do we go ahead and unlock one of these now? I feel like I don't really need these yet. I think the thing was definitely telling me that I should do Raven 2 first. So let's save it, but I have it in the bank. I kind of suspect that I'm actually going to like get a story-based mastery point around the time that I need to unlock Raven 2. So it's probably fine to go ahead and
For the one who speaks.
use this one for whatever I want, but we'll wait and see. I don't really think I need the essence manipulation masteries right this moment.
The dragon protects me.
And if we find a case where I do,
Commander,
just
the Sons of Svanir could be holding Almora captive in their camp. We need to clear it out before we can search.
Way ahead of me. Blade of the earth. Your seams are showing. For the one who speaks. Shearing flesh from bone.
Alright, so I'm just gonna pick up some of these battle plans. Oh, actually it looks like I got enough of those now. It's just a strike.
Armored up.
so glad they were invulnerable while they walked into the camp.
This is what?
Started up my ability cycles.
They're all spirits. My friends, my guildmates. They're all here.
Listen to me. Those aren't your friends. It's Jormag. You're hallucinating.
Make them stop. I can't do this.
He doesn't have to hurt like this.
Stay with me, Brad.
So that's interesting. If he's seeing visions of his friends and guildmates now, the ones that we fought not that long ago,
Searing flesh to bone.
Possibly manipulated visions too? Or were those his actual guildmates? I'm guessing they were the actual people. I mean, and the people I think were manipulated and influenced by Jormag, but I'm guessing that those were not.
No!
Visions.
He's gone. He's supposed to be gone.
Tell me what you're seeing. Talk to me.
My dad. I wasn't there when he...
Bastard!
Wasn't there for any of them.
You always have to pick up the pieces when he breaks.
Ram, listen to me. You're not who you were. You're owning up to your mistakes, remember?
What happened?
It's okay. You're here with me. You're safe.
It's like Jormag knew exactly how to... Next time I see that monster, I'm finishing what I started. No sign of Almora here. I'm heading to the next camp. You could help if you want.
I think I'm supposed to go hang out with Ritlock and Krisha instead. But you have fun in that camp.
Commander, Almora might be a prisoner here, but we can't know unless we search the tents. Key's probably with the warden. We'll have to cut through the guards till we find him.
We can't just swing our swords and hope he makes an appearance, Brimstone. We need a real
There he is.
All will come to an end.
That's right. Criticize my tactics. Just like always. Kill them all. He's using the prisoners as fuel. Stop him! Your seams are showing. This Vanguard taught you well, didn't he? That how he taught Ryland too?
I'm not the one who left.
That's not fair.
You abandoned all of us for a human sword.
Now is not the time for this.
It's over. Kree,
Let's just search these tents. He's turned Icebrood! Keep him distracted while we free the prisoners!
strong. Kill them all.
That should be the end of him. For good this time.
Let's hope so.
Look at this. Found a note in one of the cages. If you find this, meet me in the place where the Raven can't fly.
Where the Raven can't fly? What does that mean?
It's for me. Our code for Dark Rhymed Elves. That means Almora escaped.
Cool.
She's a Dark Rhymed Elves. I know it. Get her back, Commander.
Almora! Almora!
I guess I'm probably supposed to fight this.
Oh!
That had to hurt.
This event sort of seems like it's supposed to be triggered as part of my story. A lot of these events have been, which is kind of neat. Sort of weird. It's a little bit weird that they're kind of blurring the line between you know, they're not doing the story instance here. You know, it's still the open world stuff, but they're adding in story triggered events is certainly what it seems like.
Anyone who closes his mind to Jormag must be made to listen. His voice is all that matters. Armored up. My power combined. A new pattern revealed. You dare try to silence the voice of Jormag?
I dare.
Your seams are showing. These flames run deep.
Silence everything in Jormag's.
Kill shot. Your seams are showing.
Hi? What was that? It's very magical looking.
Almora.
Oh, sword.
This is her. Oh.
Oh.
Javi, I found the Raven lens.
That's not great.
And Almora.
Is she hurt? Let me talk to her.
She didn't make it.
Oh. How?
There are slash marks, and it looks like she's been gone for a while. Someone went to the trouble of burying her.
Yeah, that's
Princess
interesting.
Vanir wouldn't bother. Whoever it was found her like that before you did.
Vanguard?
Everything she did. The battle she's been through. She died alone. No warrior should die alone. I'll send someone to bring her home. Where she belongs. Take the lens and meet me at the keep.
And look around. I want to know if he was there when if he was there for her.
Aren't you tired?
Regroup at the keep, everyone. We have to talk. You made your warband proud. I'll find whoever did this. I promise. It's easy when you know how.
Alright, I think I'm just about ready to call it a night, but some regrouping at the keeps first seems like certainly a worthwhile continuation. I doubt this is just a wrap-up of the episode or anything like that. I think it's probably kicking off the next section of this episode, but... Wait. Where are you people? Oh, here we go. And then...
Commander, thank you for finding her.
I don't get how this happened. The Svanir caught up with her long before we arrived. Whoever called us here, It wasn't Almora.
Jormag.
As commanding officer of the Keep, it's my job to protect the people I have left. We've got to take down the Freyneer. We have both Raven lenses now. That means we can enter the Raven Sanctum. I can meet you there and guide you through the temple. It's not easy to navigate.
Brimstone and I are coming with you.
I want to be there for Almora.
Me too.
I think I need to stay here. I don't feel in control of myself right now.
It's okay. Help the Vigil get back on their feet.
We'll meet you at the Sanctum, Commander.
Train the... Oh, I have trained Raven Bond. Okay, great. Oh wait, reach Raven Mastery Tier 2. Oh, actually...